That recognition as being the first African, the first Nigerian to produce hyper-realistic prostheses, it gives me that joy because I didn't think it's going to land here.
How do you get into the prosthetic industry?
I began the production of prostheses when a member of my family lost some fingers.
How did you move from, just being able to help your brother all the way to transforming this into a business?
I tried solving that need for my brother. Over the years, we've been importing materials. Though we have these materials in Africa, but we don't have industries that process and refine these materials.
Did you think of maybe, it reaching a stage where you'll be the one manufacturing these things rather than actually importing?
It's a challenge. We are working on looking at partnering with other companies in Africa, especially companies who have Africa at mind first.
African societies do not celebrate African creatives. That's a powerful statement.
I love art and I've produced a lot of artworks as an artist and now as a prosthetic artist. Every good artwork has a philosophy behind it. We have companies who reach me from different parts of the world, from Germany, from Canada, from US. Some of them want to take me off Africa and I said, no, I have to develop Africa first.
Hey there, and thank you for joining us today. And today we have a very interesting guest, and our guest has been involved in prosthetics. And for those of you like me who don't really have an in-depth understanding of what this is, I'm sure after this conversation, John Amanam, who is our guest today, will be able to take us through this and help us understand what this is. So John, having said that, John, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
So I actually went through your profile, and what you're doing is something incredible, and you only hear a few people who are able to do what you do, right? And so how do you get into this? Like, how do you get into the prosthetic industry?
Okay. First of all, I'm an artist. I studied fine and industrial arts. I am a sculptor by specialization. I love art and I've produced a lot of artworks as an artist and now as a prosthetic artist. I love my work and I began the production of prostheses when a member of my family lost some fingers. So I decided to venture into the production of prostheses as a process of solving that particular need just for that at that time. Before, over the years, I now made it business. So that's what led me to the production of prostheses. Yes.
Well, that's interesting because I can also see some artworks on your background. And well, I'm really sorry about how it happened with your brother. So you first start with actually the goal of being able to help your brother, right, who lost his fingers, right? So how did this change into a business? How did you move from, just being able to help your brother all the way to transforming this into a business?
When I got into the business, I didn't start like producing it as a business. I tried solving that need for my brother when we tried to order for the product outside the continent, and we had certain challenges. The skin tone wasn't, there was no match. And the process of ordering was tedious, and the cost was very expensive. So I went through a lot trying to research. When we weren't satisfied, I tried to research and I got the formula and I solved that need. And I thought that was all. I left, since I'm an artist and I'm a sculptor at that time, I had a work to do in some other states. I left it and I was working when I started receiving calls. I started receiving messages. Someone had shared my work online and I was working. I didn't go online for a while. I got series of calls from different countries, I was receiving calls and I was like, what's going on? What is really happening? How come? People were saying, we need your service, and I said, I need to look into this. I had to stop work and go back to my Facebook account, my Instagram account. I saw over 1,000 messages. Someone had shared it and I now look at it. Oh, so really, I'm the only one doing this, That's where I got the inspiration from, and I saw it as an opportunity to help people and to also make it business. I got more serious from there, and I started doing it, taking it as serious business. And from one stage, from registering the company, I started doing other things, and it has led me this far to where I am now. Yes.
Oh, well, that's really interesting, because actually most entrepreneurs out there, when they're actually working on their businesses, for them, they actually start working on, like thinking about how am I going to make money, right? But for you, you actually solve the problem. And then later it's like, you created value to people, and then people started reaching out to you, which is something really interesting. And I think it's something that almost like all African entrepreneurs need to learn from. You also spoke about a little bit about how it was hard for you to get the materials that you needed, right? Because I don't think it's actually a huge industry in Africa. I think it's an industry that is actually growing, right? So after you were able to kind of like outsource the resources that you actually needed to, work on what you're supposed to be doing, I mean, like, how did you move forward from there? I mean, did you think of maybe, it reaching a stage where you'll be the one manufacturing these things rather than actually importing them? Because I believe, if you bought them, they probably also increase costs to the customers and the consumers.
Yeah. It's a challenge, although it's a challenge. Over the years, we've been importing materials, though we have these materials in Africa, but we don't have industries that process and refine these materials. So what we do is we buy materials from outside the country, we import them, and we've gotten used to it over time. We are still importing as I speak, but we've been able to reach out to these companies. We've had understandings and mode of transactions and transfers, but that doesn't stop us from producing what we produce. We have to do it until someday the industry would expand. I've also thought of producing it myself, but I don't think it's a short-term plan. It's going to be a very long-term plan, because we really need to produce these materials as Africans. I reprocess what I import. We process what we import, the materials, and we make it what we have, but it's still imported. Like the materials for the production are imported. So we are looking at a future of these materials being produced, refined, and distributed in Africa. Yes.
I think that's a really, huge goal over there. And I think if you achieve it, it's actually going to make life simple for a lot of people there, right? People have actually lost their limbs due to, different factors, and they need such things so that they can able either for function or for appearances. I think you're doing a pretty good job. And I think your customers are actually definitely satisfied with the work you're doing, because it's like, you're giving them another chance of being as how they were before what happened, right? And I think it's a pretty good job. And so we have actually, well, for people who don't know what this industry is, I mean, we have seen a lot of famous people such as the South African runner, right? Oscar Pistorius, who was actually had, his limbs amputated, but then later on he also get into the, he got into running, right, into the sport, right? So it's like, currently, how far can we say that the technology has reached in the field of actually being able to restore like functions, as how, what you can do with, probably, having moving fingers or moving hands that, you can control with your brain or computer. It's like, how has this industry evolved in terms of that?
Okay. We produce flesh covers. Like, we produce flesh. There are companies who produce the frame. We partner with some companies who produce the frame. Then we cover it with the flesh, which makes it very realistic. And we are looking at bionics. There are also companies who have come up to me in different countries. They want to partner with us, like for the production of bionics. They know how to produce. They produce bionics. We don't, but we are going to partner. They produce the bionics. We cover it with the flesh. It's very important. The functionality of prosthesis is very important. We may be able to solve the aesthetic value, which is what we produce, the hyper-realistic prosthesis. But on the other hand, it needs to also be functional. It needs also to be controllable. So what we produce is the flesh cover. Though for now, we also produce adjustable fingers. We have fingers who are adjustable, but manually. So we are working on looking at partnering with other companies in Africa, especially companies who have Africa at mind first, to produce these products that are bionic and have functions. This will go a long way to add further value to what we do. And it's very, very important. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's a field that actually needs a lot of work still, but there are
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
improvements, right? And given the fact that you guys are also working on research and development, because I think it plays a huge role when it comes to this specific industry, because like research every single time and like kind of improve on what you've been working on, right? I mean, companies following you, right, and reaching out to you and saying we'd like to work with you, like to cooperate with you because we believe you're out there and you're creating real change and value to people. I mean, how does this make you feel? Because at first your goal was just helping your brother, but now it's like you even have companies across Africa reaching out to you and like want to partner with you and do something together.
Yeah, we have companies who reach me from different parts of the world, from Germany, from Canada, from US. We've had different countries, from Italy, different countries. They meet me and they want me. Some of them want to take me off Africa, and I say no. We have to work with you, but we have to remain in Africa because this is for the benefit of Africa. So you have a whole lot of engineers out there. You have a lot of people producing what you do for your color. We also need to have someone here too. We also need our representatives in a good scale to meet the needs of the African man or woman or child or girl, boy here in Africa. So I feel happy that just from I could solve someone's need, and from solving one need, I've been able to have a global presence, have that recognition as being the first African, the first Nigerian to produce hyper-realistic prostheses. It gives me that joy because I didn't think it's going to land here. I'm a curious person. I'm a creative artist. I like adventure. So my adventure led to this, and I'm happy. I've reached out to so many companies have reached out to me, and sometimes I'm surprised because I never thought it's going to be like this. But I'm not surprised anymore because we have to progress, we have to move, we have to proceed, we have to improve on what we do. So finally, we still need to partner with most of these companies for the good of Africa and for humanity as well.
I mean, well, you actually said something that I don't know, just got me when you said about some of these companies wanting you to go out there and kind of work in these fields while you're outside the continent. And I think it's a problem that most entrepreneurs are facing, or like the continent in general is facing, right? It's like if we have people who are doing great things, right? Most of these companies would want to snatch them out of Africa and take them to their country, right? And I think you're the perfect person that I'm speaking to right now, because I actually aim to look at people who are doing exceptional things in the continent. And like you are in the continent, you had an opportunity of going out, but you still chose to remain in the continent and do something that you really help your people. And I think that is something that is really strong, and I think it's something that you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, as an African, we have this challenge. People come up. We have a lot of creative artists. I mean, I am Africans, sorry, in Africa, but the political circle, the society does not encourage people who have talent, who have ideas, because the African society mostly does not celebrate people who are very creative. So you see these people come up, the foreigners come out, they discover your talent, they take you there, and you're lost with it. It's not bad. What they are doing is not bad, but it deprives Africa of the originals, the ones who would have been the great artists, the great scientists, the great doctors, we have a lot of Africans out there who have lost the passion for Africa, who are serving in other foreign lands and doing great work, but have no recognition here in Africa. So it's one of the things I'm guiding against. I don't want to be lost outside my continent. I'm African. I should be in Africa, helping Africa. I shouldn't be in somewhere, I don't know. So whatever challenge it is, whatever thing you want me to do, come to Africa. Yeah, Africa, we have to develop Africa first. I know you have the money. I may not have the dollar, the billion dollars you think, but first we have to fix Africa. At all costs. That is who I am, and that's what I stand for.
Oh, African societies do not celebrate African creatives. That's a powerful statement. So, I mean, being the first one to be in this industry in Nigeria and in Africa in general, I mean, do you get the support that you need probably from government and you know, like other organizations in your country and probably in the continent to support you in what you're doing?
Actually, I don't. I haven't got any. It's surprising, it's funny, but I've I've configured my mind not to look at anyone, just to keep pushing, keep doing what I'm doing. It's a skill, it's a talent, it's paying, generating money for my company. So at this point in my life, I wouldn't say I don't need sponsors, I don't need partners, I don't need support, but I've reached a stage I'm constant on improving. That's my basic target, to improve on what I do. All of the money will come. Whosoever wants to sponsor will come. But I've not had people come down like say, oh, we love what you're doing. Take this. Oh, we would like to support. Most of them come to take. Some of them come to come and know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's the challenge we have in Africa here. Yeah. So that's basically what I experienced. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Now let's switch gears a little bit, right? And talk a little bit about how you acquired the skills that enabled you to do what you're doing right now, right? So I actually noticed that you're also involved in the visual effects industry, right? And you're also a sculptor, right? So how did you manage to merge these two things into the industry that you are right now, prosthetics?
Okay. I'm an artist, first of all. Then I'm a sculptor. I like what I do. I'm a passionate artist, a sculptor by specialization. What's how I manage the fact that I'm a prosthetic artist now and a sculptor is it's all art. It's art, the art of creating, the art of modeling. So I find time for myself as a sculptor and as well as the prosthetic side. So when I finish with I devote time for my sculptural works. I could I could have some months of break or a month of break just for sculpture. I like sculpture. I'm really in love with my art. So, on the other hand, I saw people's problems. Well, you could see the background. This is my gallery. We have a lot of artworks here. So in order to keep that fire burning, I still look into my art as a sculptor.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. I actually saw the ones, you know, one of it like with the person. I think it's holding an arrow. Like, what does that one mean?
I think that's an African man.
Okay.
Who is a strong man who tries to unify the society, not through war, but through symbols of peace, unity, and diversity. The work is it's a three-dimensional work. If you go close to it, you would see the true function of it, or the true features of it. A man with an arrow.
Yeah, that's really interesting because you're not just making art; you're actually making art that has meaning and trying to communicate.
Yeah, every good artwork has a philosophy behind it. So that's a little of what I can explain for now about the sculpture you see behind me.
Absolutely. I mean, well, do you have like a general philosophy when it comes to artworks, or it's like every artwork has its own philosophy?
Art is spiritual. That's mine. And for an artist to be successful, you have to have a understanding of spirituality. You have to have a spiritual consciousness. So every good artist should be spiritual. Life, art in general is spiritual. Yeah, that's my philosophy.
When you're in secondary school or high school, right? I mean, if I was someone who went to the same school with you, will I ever imagine that one day you'll actually be doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, right from school, I was always an artist. My teacher, I remember when I was in secondary school, and my secondary school teacher called me one day. I was always in the studio. I loved staying in the art studio. I loved art right from time. So she called me one day and asked me, said, John, I said, yes, ma'am. She said, what do you want to study? I said, I would love to study art, but my dad says he doesn't want me to study art. She now asked me, said, what did he say you should study? I said, architecture. She told me point blank there, said, art will haunt you. That was her word. She's late. She's late. But that word kept haunting me for a long time. I studied philosophy for 2 years, but I was depressed for 2 years. I wasn't myself until I had to start all over again, study arts as a course again. So art can haunt someone. It's a passion. When I say it's spiritual, it comes with an inspiration. It comes with messages. You transform images from your mind to the physical. So if you refuse to accept that calling as an artist, it could haunt you. It could haunt you.
Well, I think so. Your father, I mean, is he proud of you right now?
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, my father is proud of me. When about 2014, the first time I became famous, that was 2014 when I did a sculpture in my university titled Tomorrow. My dad, when I switched from philosophy to fine art, he wasn't happy because I was supposed to graduate in the next 2 years or so. And then I told him I'm starting all over again. He was depressed, and I told him, "Don't worry, I'll take care of my academic bills." And he never visited me for that time till I got through with school. And then one day he heard I did a sculpture that is now very famous, titled Tomorrow. So he came visiting for the first time, and I was at the sculpture explaining the work to a crowd of 200 people. And then I looked up, and lo and behold, my father was on top of somewhere looking at me. He was surprised. He folded his arms and he was watching me with the crowd, explaining the sculpture. He was so proud of me, and he came back and said, "You're a very stubborn person." So that,
I mean, well, you have to be stubborn if you're to become an entrepreneur and follow your passion, because most of the time it's not something people, agree with.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing. With regards to visual effects, I mean, I am a graphic designer and a videographer, right, editor, and also an artist. I was an artist actually. I was doing paintings and stuff, but then later on I stopped. So visual art, I mean, visual effect is actually it's not a simple
part of art.
Yeah, and it's part of art, of course. What projects have you been doing in terms of the visual effects field?
Okay, for now, I think we are trying to create a unit where call it SFX, like special effects. We're creating a unit to handle that because a lot of people come out and say we would like Immortal Cosmetic Art to feature in a movie production and this, and we are already overwhelmed by the influx of clients from all over the world who need our products. So we've not been able to pay maximum attention to that field, which is the special effects for movies. But currently, we are looking at trying to create a unit, train people so they could look into that from next year. So we can have people assess us, we could work for movie firms and have a supply of professionals who could handle effects in different kinds of movies. So it's a plan we have already at the moment.
And I think it's a good plan because actually most of the African movies are not well developed because we are missing the people who can actually work in the visual effects field. So to ask you one last question, right? Because you're busy minded, you need to go up there and help people. One last question. What do you think is the future for prosthetics in the African continent?
Yeah, what I think is prostheses would grow. It would expand and it would become more inclusive in the future of the field in Africa, as we are not looking at just the realism. I'm looking at prostheses becoming fashion in the future. Prosthesis is going to be a thing of class. When you put on a prosthesis, someone knows this must be a classic person, must be a very exposed person, because it's not just going to be, oh, you're an amputee. No, it's not going to be you're an amputee. It's going to be you are a classic person. I love your prosthesis. You look good. You make prosthesis of choice. You could choose blue prosthesis, choose red prosthesis. You make it. There will be a whole lot of variety. We are going to develop it. We are going to expand it. We are also going to add series of choices. So it doesn't become a problem. It doesn't become a challenge of, it doesn't match my skin color. It's now what skin color, what skin tone do you wish to use? So that's
And you've actually been doing a perfect work when it came to skin tone, because now it looks more African.
Yeah.
John,
That's
thank you very much.
that's the standard.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you very much. I really appreciate this, and I hope we might probably have another interview sometime soon, because I think this is a topic that actually you are creating change. It's a movement of change in the African continent. You are among the pioneers of that. So having said that, thank you very much, and I hope people watching this will find it helpful and see what they can probably do in that field too, because it's actually a growing field that needs more people to come in and put a hand in it and help it grow.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
You too. Bye. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much if you have watched till the end of this, and I hope you subscribe, because we'll have more guests share their stories that I'm pretty sure will not only inspire you, but teach you the ways of an entrepreneur and a leader. Until next time, thank you for joining us today. Peace out.